explain at the beginning. I have a condition called Tourette syndrome. So, just for your viewers out there, I might I'd be acting a little funny, or even swear. I don't know. Yeah, we can edit that part out, but just to give everybody a heads up. Our clients are across a couple different kinds of industries, so I think they would segment their stakeholders differently. By and large, you know, I think we need to think community-wide and nationally and then globally. And the kind of messaging, interaction is going to be different for each group. Obviously, some of your stakeholders speak different language. But the example I like to give is I met someone online on Twitter, Heidi Massey. She's worked for nonprofits, and she was between jobs. But Heidi Massey is a born connector. I mean, she's on social media. She's learning it as she goes, and she just connects people. But she is an influencer. So I'm not sure that IBM would consider Heidi Massey one of their key stakeholders, but they should, because she can connect people. She can transfer information. She can get people to read stories. She's highly influential, but by normal rank and file of how we categorize people, she wouldn't show up, I don't think. So we need to rethink stakeholders, and now it becomes really mushy and pretty broad because of social media. Yeah, obviously, yes. With a number of different mediums, and everybody's using different things, Facebook, email, Twitter, online texting, you know, as well as traditional media. But the basic two categories, traditional media and new media is changing and evolving all the time. What we were using last year, we're not now, or it's changed again. So yes, absolutely. Well, I think it's both, right? It's really hard to extract one or the other. And I think we are discovering that there are ways to extend our human relationships that we like better than others. But we don't know what we don't know. So next year, somebody builds a platform based on the best practices of 3 or 4 other platforms, and I like that better. I leave these ones, and I migrate over there. And that's Facebook's big challenge, to stay ahead and always be kind of implementing best practices of what other people are finding. So they're either adding it or whatnot. So yes, it is evolving. We will change, but it's cultural, because we're finding out there are more possibilities than I had last year too, and that's what I want now. That's a great question, because it is all experimentation, and the trick is to ask better questions, not to have all the right answers. So we do kind of a phased approach. We start small, little areas, figure it out, and then expect to make mistakes. These mistakes lead to better questions, right? So companies that don't, that are pretty want to do it right from day one. I get that, I understand that, but they tend to be pretty stuck as moving forward, and they aren't as nimble or fluid as other companies that are willing to take the journey with the rest of us, and because we are all trying to figure this out as we go ahead. I mean, this is the Gutenberg press. This is big. This is a shift, a cultural shift, and we don't know where it's all going to settle. It may not settle for decades, so we better get in the water and go with the river, as opposed to just saying, here's where we're going to stay. Well, definitely the new frontier is a mindset that has been all about communication to human relationships, right? So before, we could form the message, put it up on a wall. We can do a ton of work with that in marketing, and we can help shape people's understandings and perceptions. Okay. But with social media, because it's not primarily communication, but the extension of human relationships, because it is about how you and I talk together and what we share and the value that we transfer and engaging each other in meaningful and authentic ways, it's not, we use communication to do that, but communication becomes a means to an end. So the biggest struggle that companies have, right, is we've all been trained very well how to do this, and now we're looking at the tools thinking, here's a new billboard. Right? An online billboard. Here's a new online TV ad. Here's a new online paper. But it's not that at all, and it's very deceiving, because now we're trying to shove that message in these tools, and the tools, you know, we're losing fingers and thumbs, and we're using the tools all wrong, right? But we've never seen this before, so it's really hard. It's hard to break those paradigms, those rubrics which have been entrenched in our head and we learned in college. It's very, very hard to break out of it and think, this is new, this is different, right? Because then we're all on that, oh my gosh, no one's an expert. And we're in that river, and we're going along, and we're just wondering where it's going to take us, right? But it's more simple than that. It is basically the same rules, same social rules that are in play when I meet you in a hallway, when I go to a dinner party, when I go to a conference, the same human rules that determine whether I'm a schmuck or a good guy to talk to, whether I'm interesting or boring, whether I'm polite or rude. Those are the rules of social media, not the rules of communication. You make that switch, you're okay, right? Unless you're not self-aware. Okay, if you're not self-aware, that's just going to be a problem in real life and as a corporation, because everybody knows it, you know, and you act weird, and you don't know it, but I know it, and that's going to definitely be a problem.